rain-slicked cobblestones of Edinburgh shimmered under the faint glow of streetlights, as Elias Thorne, a quiet historian specializing in forgotten European dialects, clutched his worn briefcase. His grandfather, Arthur Ainsworth, a titan of industry whose name echoed through corporate boardrooms, had passed away 3 weeks prior. The reading of the will had been, predictably, a circus of veiled contempt and overt greed. His Aunt Beatrice and Uncle Malcolm, along with their children, the perpetually unimpressed Julian and Serena, had vied for every piece of Arthur's vast empire: the manufacturing plants, the sprawling estate in the Cotswolds, the private jet. Elias, who had only ever truly connected with Arthur over ancient texts and strategic chess matches, had received a single perplexing item: an old leather-bound journal and a one-way train ticket to a small, unassuming town in the Italian Alps called Bellomonte. Honestly, Elias, Julian had sneered, adjusting his designer watch, a journal and a train ticket? Grandfather clearly had a twisted sense of humor even in death. Serena had giggled, a sound like glass chimes breaking. Beatrice had simply sighed, a dramatic flourish meant to convey her pity for Elias's perceived misfortune. They had all inherited fortunes, their lives secured by gilded cages, while Elias was left with a riddle. Yet, deep down, a flicker of intuition, a memory of Arthur's sly smile and cryptic wisdom, told Elias there was more to this than met the eye. Arthur was many things, but frivolous was not one of them. Days later, the rhythmic clack of the train wheels was the only sound accompanying Elias's thoughts, as the urban sprawl gave way to rolling hills. Then, eventually, the dramatic, snow-capped peaks of the Alps. Bellomonte was a postcard come to life. Quaint chalets, vibrant window boxes, and the scent of pine and freshly baked bread permeating the crisp mountain air. It was a stark contrast to the sterile opulence of his grandfather's former life. Elias found a small family-run inn, its proprietor, a kindly woman named Marta, whose smile was as warm as the fire crackling in the hearth. He opened the journal. Its pages, brittle with age, were filled with elegant cursive handwriting. It wasn't Arthur's hand. It was a woman's. The entries, dated from the 1950s, spoke of love, longing, and the beauty of Bellomonte. "My dearest Arthur," one entry began, "the world outside may be chaotic, but here, with you, I find peace. Our little vineyard thrives, much like our love." Elias felt a jolt. A vineyard. Arthur had never mentioned a vineyard. His life in America had been about steel and concrete, not grapes and sunshine. As Elias delved deeper into the journal, he uncovered a breathtaking narrative. Arthur Ainsworth, before he was the ruthless industrialist, had been a young, idealistic man who, after World War II, had traveled through Europe. In Bellomonte, he met Isabella. Their love story was passionate and immediate. They built a life together, establishing a small vineyard that produced exceptional, unique wine. They had a child, a daughter named Lena. But fate, in the form of Arthur's demanding American family, called him back. His father had fallen ill, and the family business was on the brink. Arthur, torn between his two lives, made a promise to Isabella that he would return for good once his obligations were met. He left Bellomonte, promising to send for them, but the demands of rebuilding an empire slowly consumed him. Letters became less frequent, then stopped. The guilt, the journal hinted, had haunted him his entire life. One morning, Marta noticed Elias poring over the journal at breakfast. "That looks very old," she commented softly. "Bellomonte has many old stories." Elias explained his quest, showing her a faded photograph tucked into the journal. Arthur, young and beaming, standing beside a beautiful woman and a tiny child, a vineyard stretching behind them. Marta's eyes widened. "Isabella Bianchi," she exclaimed, a warmth entering her voice. "And little Lena. They live just down the valley. The vineyard, it's still there. Ainsworth's Alpine vintage. Though, after Isabella passed, Lena, bless her soul, maintained it. She's an old woman now, like me, but she still makes the finest wine in all of Italy." Elias felt a surge of adrenaline. His grandfather had maintained this vineyard under the Ainsworth name. He walked down the winding path Marta described, his heart pounding. There it was, a charming, rustic winery nestled among the slopes. The sign, weathered but legible, read, "Ainsworth's Alpine Vintage." Inside, he found an elderly woman, her face etched with the wisdom of years, meticulously tending to bottles. Her eyes, though faded with age, held a striking resemblance to the woman in the photograph. "Lena?" Elias asked, his voice trembling slightly. The woman looked up, startled. "Yes, young man. Can I help you?" Elias introduced himself, showing her the journal and the photograph. Lena's eyes welled up with tears as she gently touched the faded image. "My father," she whispered. "Arthur." Over the next few days, Elias spent hours with Lena. She told him tales of her mother's enduring love for Arthur, her steadfast belief that he would return, and then the revelation. Arthur had, in fact, returned to Bellomonte many times over the decades, always secretly. He had provided for them, purchased the vineyard under his name, ensuring Isabella and Lena were comfortable. He had watched Lena grow from afar, too consumed by guilt and the expectations of his American life to fully integrate back into their world, yet never truly forgetting them. He had even established a trust fund for Lena, managing the vineyard's finances, ensuring its prosperity. He knew the true value of this life, this connection, far beyond the hollow grandeur of his American empire. Finally, Lena led him to a hidden room within the winery. Inside, amidst dusty barrels, sat a small, secured wooden chest. "Your grandfather left this for you," she said, her voice soft. "He always believed you would understand." Elias opened the chest. Inside was not gold or jewels, but a single sealed envelope and a final video message from Arthur. Arthur Ainsworth, looking older but with the same glint in his eye, appeared on the small screen of an old tablet. "Elias," he began, "if you are watching this, it means you chose the road less traveled. My American family. They chased shadows, the factories, the estate, the jets. They were all on the brink of collapse, drowning in debt. I let them have it, knowing they would find its true emptiness. They valued only what glittered, never understanding the bedrock beneath." A pause, and then Arthur's voice grew softer, imbued with profound emotion. "This vineyard, Ainsworth's Alpine Vintage, its true value is not just in its exceptional wine, but in the love and life it represents. It is a testament to Isabella, to Lena, and to a part of me I almost lost. It generates substantial, quiet wealth, enough to sustain generations, but more importantly, it offers a real legacy. This, Elias, is yours. The land, the business, and most importantly, a family who knows true worth. I leave it to you, Elias, because you, my grandson, were the only one who truly understood what mattered beyond the superficial. You sought knowledge, not just money. You valued connection, not just status. You always saw the story behind the numbers. Go forth, my boy, and tend to this true inheritance. The video ended. Elias stood there, overwhelmed. His American family was crumbling under the weight of their inheritance. The very assets they had flaunted were now revealed as elaborate illusions. Meanwhile, here, in the heart of the Alps, he had discovered a flourishing business, a vibrant heritage, and a new family in Lena, a woman whose life was a testament to enduring love and quiet strength. He looked at Lena, whose eyes reflected a lifetime of stories, and then out at the sun-drenched rows of grapevines. He had inherited not just a business, but a purpose, a connection to a profound past, and the promise of a rich, meaningful future, far more valuable than any fleeting fortune. The historian, who had always studied forgotten tales, had finally found his own living history, and it was beautiful.